All right. Hello, my dear friend Chernise. I'm
Hello,
so
beautiful
excited to be
darling.
talking to you today. This is such a long coming thing. We've been talking about this for like months now, and I'm so excited that it's finally happening.
Finally, it has been a while, but
Yes,
it's happening now.
it's happening now, and that's all that matters, the now moment.
Yes, yes. You took
So,
the words out of my mouth.
yeah. So I just want to talk a little bit about who you are to anybody who's listening to this recording, because obviously I know who you are. You're one of my very dearest friends for like 15 years. So you don't need no explanation to me, but anybody who's watching would like to know. And just from how I know you, I would say you're the most heart-centered person that I know.
Aw,
And you have the sweetest soul there is, and you do so many amazing great things, and you're so versatile. What I love about you is you're so versatile. For someone who is so spiritual and so into the angel realm and the whole channeling thing, and you are also someone who is very grounded and very real, and who's very also very good at balancing like extroverted, introverted parts of yourself. And I love that about you. I love how balanced you are. I love how
you're
versatile
so
you are. I
sweet.
love how many languages you speak. So, and I just went to your website and it's so beautiful. Did you make this yourself?
I did. Thank you so much. It's so funny. I'm actually working on changing it right now. But
You
I
are?
did. Yeah, I did. And I love the energy too. I love the pink and
The colors are gorgeous. The writing is beautiful. It's very clear. It's very
thank
easy to
you.
use. I love
Thank
it.
you.
Well done.
Thank you. Yeah, I remember it's well, growing up, it's very funny. I wasn't really into pink at all for some reason.
Me
Uh,
neither.
Yeah, and then I learned that it was associated with divine love, and then just the switch happened, and I'm like,
Heart
pink
energy.
everywhere. I mean, I usually don't wear pink, but just wear everywhere but my body.
Right.
I
Yeah,
wear
Frank.
the
Yes.
pink. Like I put lots of pink.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Sonia. I did just feel
Welcome.
like bathed in just this beautiful, loving energy when you said that. So thank you for all of your lovely, lovely words.
You're welcome. And we should probably say for the audience, like your website is CherniseSpruell.com.
.com.
And
Sure.
we'll have a link to your website
Yeah.
below the video. So if people want to check you out and want to see what you're about, that they can do that.
Yes,
Right?
yes, yes.
And maybe
Can
also
I
your
say
social media. We'll add your social media as well. So that way they can look at your
follow me on Instagram? And yeah, I'm on Instagram more than Facebook now. So that's probably the place to go to get updated information.
Instagram. Okay,
So
great.
can I say lovely words about you now?
Yes, please. Lavishly love.
Wow. I mean, well, so as Sonia said, we're just dear heart friends. And Sonia feels like a hug, like a warm, fuzzy hug of love. I mean, I don't know how to describe it more.
I love giving hugs. I love giving hugs.
She's the most thoughtful, um, in action, caring, loving person that I know. And you're just beautiful. You're beautiful. And so I love that your approach to, honestly, your approach to astrology, but that whatever you do, I know that you're giving that energy to people. But the same thing, like you're very, I think you're, well, I was going to say you're very grounded, but I also remember us just having fun and talking together and remembering like, oh, we should watch the cars because we're about to cross the street. But I, so when we're together, we're not always grounded, but
That's true.
you are so clear and aware of how you're feeling in the moments. That impresses me a lot. And I think that's a great skill, like when you're working with clients, to be able to know where you are so you can set boundaries if need to, but then you could also tell where they are. You can see where they are and what they need. And I think that is beautiful because it's enveloped in this big fuzzy hug of love. So
Oh, you're the best. That's why you're my bestie.
that's why we fit. That's why we
That's
match. We're
right. That's right. That's why it's a good match. Exactly.
just
So,
excuse
so
me.
I thought we would talk a little bit about energy today, since you work with energy a lot. And hold on, I need more water. Mm. And since I thought, we're living in such interesting times right now where so much is shifting and changing. And it kind of occurred to me today that I was writing my weekly blog about, what's coming up next week. And we have eclipse season starting on May 16th. And that will go on until June 24th. And when I was reading about what eclipse season is all about, I thought, oh my God, that sounds exactly what we're experiencing, not just during eclipse season, but what we've been experiencing 2020 and 2021. And eclipse season is all about being in a place of uncertainty, being in a place where we don't quite know what's next. We're getting a consciousness upgrade, and that consciousness upgrade has us feel a little bit like a fish out of water, or like standing on quicksand or something. So it feels uncomfortable because we don't have all the information yet, and we don't quite know yet what the next step might be. And I feel like that's exactly the type of energy that we're experiencing globally and collectively right now, right? Would you agree with
Yeah,
that?
definitely, definitely. This is such a period of transition energetically because of the ascension energies that are affecting all of the all of excuse me, it's like you're coughing, I'm coughing. Because
I
it's
get
generally
some
what happens
water.
when we're together. We'll laugh at the same time or whatever. Um, so, so yeah, it's just this period of where we're familiar with what we experienced before, and even though it didn't feel like it was serving us, or it didn't feel right, or maybe, or to some degrees it didn't nurture us, we felt like something was off. We are in this period of what the heck is happening now. Like so many things are moving, and I think during periods of transition, it's so helpful to be able to meditate and go into your heart, because that's where your center is. When the world is spinning around you, the eye of the hurricane or tornado is
Yes.
really where you want to be, because uh, um, if we do take the perspective and the stance that everything in our life is happening for us, and if we remember that there are these powerful ascension energies that are supporting us, then the overall is is desirable. The overall is what we want, but it's just in this period where what we knew before is gone, and we can't see what lies ahead. It's just scary.
Right.
I think we're so used to thinking, or being comfortable with the familiar, even though things were changing all the time. They just didn't necessarily look like they were changing, but now it looks like it's changing. It feels like it's changing. Stuff has got like it's just there's no doubt. Like
No
you
doubt.
can't deny anymore. I think that's the thing. Like
Can't deny it
you can't
anymore.
deny
Exactly.
anymore. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, time to look within and see what's
Yeah.
going on in there.
So I thought what we could maybe do for anybody who's watching this video is maybe talk a little bit about, like, what do you and I do um, in time of uncertainty, in time of discomfort, or how do we take care of ourselves? Because there is, like, obviously there's the physical level of like wanting to not get sick and wanting to stay healthy. But then there's also the emotional and the mental level, right? Emotionally, how do you deal with some of the fears that are coming up? Or how do you deal with other people's fears? How do you deal with the collective fear, and how you're tapping into that, and how you're feeling that yourself, if you're like an empath, for example, like I am. Um, and then mentally, I think there's like this, like, how do we talk to ourselves about what's happening? How do we talk to other people about what's happening? How is the interaction and the conversation that's happening between loved ones, between people, friends, acquaintances, on social media, right? Like, so there's so many levels I feel like that we can address here, in terms of like, what do we do when there is discomfort and uncertainty,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I just thought we could maybe start with the physical level,
Mm,
and each talk about like what is that? What is it that you do to take care of your physical well-being and your physical health, for example, right
Mm,
now?
nice. Yeah, what I've done is just I super focused on my health with supplements and essential oils.
Mm.
So funny, like honestly, ever since, the beginning of 2020 when things started going, shifting, since things started shifting, if I had like a headache, if my knee was hurting, regardless of what it all got the same immune system protocol. It was like, I don't know what this could be, but I'm going to take care of this to make sure that my body's fine. And so one thing I've been doing is taking lysine with vitamin C 3 times a day. That is very powerful. I notice days when I do it and days when I don't.
Mhm.
There's this wonderful 30-minute Kundalini yoga that I've been doing on YouTube pretty much every day. There are a few times that I haven't done it, but it's called Yoga for Disease Resistance. And what I've noticed is
What's it called? Yoga for what?
yoga for disease resistance.
Oh, I love it.
And
Mhm.
it's 30 minutes, so you can fit it
Mhm.
in your schedule. And it's Kundalini yoga. And that has, same thing. It's one of those things where I honestly don't want to just entirely rely on supplements, but I am taking them now. And I notice that like if I forget some of my supplements, but I've done the yoga, same thing, like I can tell a difference. So that's really powerful.
Powerful.
And there's just beautiful mindfulness that comes with that. And at the end of this piece of yoga, there's a mini meditation for a calm heart, which I'm like, thank you,
Beautiful.
Jesus, because I need a calm heart at this time when, things are so crazy.
Beautiful.
So I've been doing that, but I guess the main supplements have been there's something called Thrive 6, which is adaptogens mushrooms. It has cordyceps, reishi, lion's mane, turkey tail, and I think two others.
Fantastic.
So that's been really good.
Mushrooms is supposed to be like the thing now, like it really helps with supporting the system, the whole system of the body.
Yeah, it's really I love that they're called adaptogens because I remember looking it up and it's very simple. Like it helps your body adapt.
Well, what's interesting about mushrooms is mushrooms are the most adapted form of plant that there is out there.
Wow.
Like they can live anywhere and they can grow anywhere and they can basically adapt to their environment very, very quickly.
Wow.
And so maybe that's why they're adaptogens.
Yes, 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 probably. That might have something to do with it. Uh,
Uh,
yeah, so I've been taking those and,
right,
vitamin C. I do vitamin C along with the lysine, so that's been
right.
helpful. But otherwise, zinc, quercetin, just different supplements. And then oregano oil, like if I would feel, I think if I started sneezing or something, I would
I
put,
love oregano oil.
yeah, I would put
Yeah.
2 drops on the bottom of my feet. But if your feet are really sensitive, definitely put it in a carrier oil. I mean,
I
so,
actually take pills. I have oregano
oh,
oil
perfect.
pills that I take on the first onset of like my nose is runny or my throat or anything that I feel in my body that feels like maybe overgrowth yeast or anything like that.
Right,
I
nice, nice.
take oregano oil and it just kills it right away. It's
Beautiful. I need to try those because I haven't tried the pills before. I just use
mm,
the
it's
oil neat.
powerful.
Yeah, yeah.
And I love vitamin C too. I do like vitamin C and zinc. I do
Yes.
that combination. And then vitamin D3, of course,
I
right
do
now.
that too. Yeah.
But if there's a lot of sunshine, I will leave them out. I only take
Mhm.
it if it's like cloudy or if it's really, if it feels like my body needs more sunshine.
Yeah. I like
Um,
that you have a yard though. You live in a place where it's very easy to go outside, and I'm in a fifth floor walk up in Manhattan. So
yes. So if
sometimes it's
you're
like, do I want to do the
housebound,
flashlights or not?
yeah, yeah, no, I get that. Yeah. Did you want to add anything else before I say what I'm doing? I didn't want to interrupt you.
Just I haven't been walking consistently. I do that from time to time, but what I have been doing, which you know about, is I'll do a workout with my mom. So
Yes,
we've been
yes,
doing that every day, and
which
it's
is
just
so
25
sweet.
minutes. And it's very 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 low key. It's a workout for elderly because I don't think I would do anything else. I mean, I should, but that's helped because I'm sure that's helped because otherwise I wouldn't do anything because I don't normally work out at all. So I would say that that's something that I'm really glad to be doing, even though I didn't consciously do it because of this. But yeah.
Well, you live in New York, right? And in New York, usually you get your workout by walking around. I mean, you walk
Mm,
so much in New York. I mean, I used to live there for 25 years, and I
yeah.
really, I mean, even though I had a gym membership as well, you walk so much, you don't really need to go to the gym, up and down the
Exactly.
stairs of the subways and then
Mhm.
all these long blocks. But
Yeah.
now that I don't live in New York anymore and I live in a house where I have a car with a garage and I basically just step in the car and drive out and no more walking, right? I mean, zero walking. So I
Yeah.
really have to be very conscious of getting my body to move, because the body
Mhm.
needs movement. But at the
Yes.
same time, I also need to be conscious not to push it too hard either, because I have found that, especially the last 2 years now, it's been a real balancing act for me, to
Mhm.
find the right balance between doing a lot of activity but not doing too much or not pushing myself too hard when I do certain activities so that my body doesn't get drained and
Mhm.
exhausted. So what I found for myself, the yoga is fantastic. I love yoga. I mean, I
Mhm.
just love yoga. That to me is like the perfect exercise. It's like so balancing. And
Mhm.
I do a lot of yin yoga, like feminine, slower yoga, because that helps me to just listen to my body more and get more in touch with my body, which I love. And then I love hiking. I love hiking and walking. And obviously, that's something that I can do more easily than you can do where you live, right? Because where
Yeah.
I am in Pittsburgh, like I can literally, like, I can walk out the house and go for a walk, or I can drive 15 minutes and be in this huge, nature
Wow.
reserve. And it's really wonderful, I have to say. That's been a real blessing
Yeah,
for sure.
that sounds
So yeah,
lovely.
so the walking, the hiking, the yoga, and then I've done also something else which is called the Tibetan rites. Have you heard of that before?
No, what are they?
Ancient exercise which is like five yoga poses, and they put it together, like some Tibetan monk put it
Mhm.
together like a
Mhm.
1,000 years ago or longer. I don't even know the history of it, but
Mhm.
basically it's a repetition of movements that you make, and
Mhm.
you can start out with repeating the movements 3 times up to 21 times, and it's
Wow.
5 movements.
I
And so you build your way up to get to 21 repetitions. I'm at 10 right now, and I've kind of been at 10 for a while, but I feel like I'm not ready to go moving up to more than 10. So,
honor your body.
but yeah, you just have to. I think the key right now, I think, is really listening to your body, right? Like listening,
Yes.
what does your body need? Because everybody's body is different,
Yes.
and we all have different ways of, depending your age, depending your stress level, depending your, what comes up in your life currently, whether you have injuries or something else going on. I think we really need to be listening to our bodies,
It's
right?
very, very important. I had a similar experience of of overdoing it because I was very excited and I really wanted to work out.
Right.
And I realized that, there needed to be a harmony between my perception of where I was and what was really good for my body. So I did have to take things slower. And I feel like most of my life I would just think, oh, I can do this. And this is just a time where it's
Yeah.
like, no, Chernise, you've been kind of sitting on your butt for a year. Can't just go do this workout or do this stretch. So
The mind is often more optimistic than what it what it
yes,
needs, what actually is required,
there's
right?
sometimes a disconnect.
Disconnect, exactly. Yeah, there's sometimes a disconnect between the mind and the body, and sometimes between the mind and the heart. And
Awesome.
these disconnects, we have to notice them, right? We got to be
Yes,
conscious of them and make sure that we're coming back together and connecting
yes.
ourselves with everything else again, right?
Yes, and that's
Yeah.
beautiful because that's just a general rule for life. Like you are happier when you are in harmony, when you have that mind, body, heart
Yes.
harmony. Like it's
Yeah.
that's
I couldn't agree more.
but
Yeah.
especially now with great change in this period of change. Like now is the time that you want to listen to your body. You want to know what your mind is saying. It's just now is the time to
We should
be.
also talk about food maybe, because I feel like what you eat is also really important in terms of like how much energy you have and how the body feels nourished, right? I mean, I
Yes,
think what we put in is what we get out in a sense in terms of energy, right?
yes. And honestly, what you put in is what creates your body because your cell literally takes that food and forms new cells out of the food. So
Right.
sometimes I have to remember that when I want to get two cupcakes. One cupcake is fine.
It's,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
have to say it's difficult with sweet stuff. I do have a sweet tooth, but I've really been trying very consciously to reduce as much of the sugar out of my diet as I can, and to just really have it more as a treat
yeah,
rather than have it as like a meal,
yeah,
or something that I just eat, but to just have it just sporadically, when it feels like, okay, this is like a celebration of some sort, or this is something I'm doing for myself that has good energy around it, and it's conscious rather
yes,
than unconscious,
yes.
right?
I'm so glad you said that because we are still creators. We are radiating energy all of the time. Ultimately, everything is neutral. So
Right.
if we're looking at something and we're like, oh, this is terrible for me, then it is going to be terrible for you. I'm not saying that you can look at a cupcake and the first go and be like, this is amazing. It's like eating alfalfa sprouts. And then you eat it and then
I mean, it's both, right? It's a
it's
combination
a
of the two. It's a
combination.
combination of the reality of the physical that has to be honored, and also what we give to it mentally, the
Yes.
energy that we give it with our mind, right?
Yes, and I
It's
literally did that recently because
collaboration.
I'm doing the same thing. I eat organic greens, I eat lean meats. I don't eat a lot of starches. It's mostly because my body's not really good with them, and also I can't have gluten
Right.
or dairy. Luckily, there's so many supplements out there, so you can get just as many sweets. For a
Right.
long time, I was able to abstain from sweets just because there were none out there that I could eat. But now I definitely have to be more conscious about it.
Yeah.
But I do the same thing where like if I want something sweet, I'll have it sort of as a treat. And so just I think it was either last night or the night before, I had some chocolate meringues from Trader Joe's.
Nice.
And I like them because they're just a few ingredients. But I remember before I ate it, just looking at it and sending love and giving thanks for it. And
Nice.
that's huge for me because I know subconsciously my programming is sweets are bad.
Yeah.
And like I said, ultimately sweets, everything's energy, so it's all neutral. But at least shifting my perception about this before I eat it, just
That's powerful. Yes. I think gratitude in general is really powerful.
yeah.
My friend D'Angelo Thompson, he has a whole book on gratitude and a whole show
Mm,
on gratitude. And I think it's really something that's very, very powerful to kind of like connect with right now,
yeah,
especially, right?
yeah,
Because gratitude opens the heart, doesn't it? It's like a heart opening. And you
yes.
can do it with your mind. You can
Mhm,
connect the mind and the heart just by being grateful for things,
mhm,
right?
yeah.
But
Yeah.
one thing I did want to mention before I forget is I'm also taking a supplement that's called adrenal support, and
Uh,
I've read a little bit more about it today as well, because we're both sort of at that age where we have to look at what our hormones are doing and how we're shifting into a new, more older age of wisdom, for
on
ourselves.
all levels.
A whole other level, exactly. Um, and so adrenal support is really important, because not just for people who are shifting into, shifting hormonally, but also with stress, right? When there is a lot of stress in your body, or mentally, emotionally, the adrenals are the ones that um, gets sucked dry from
Right,
that stress.
right, right.
So getting adrenal support supplements is very powerful. And I've actually noticed, since I've been taking these adrenal support supplements, it's been maybe a month or two.
Mm,
Um, I've been feeling much more present, much more vital, much more
yeah,
energetic.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's been really fantastic. So I just wanted to mention that for anybody who wants to look up on that. Adrenal support supplements. There's a lot of stuff out there. The ones that I'm taking, they're like, I think, Indian herbs like
Mm.
ashwagandha and
Oh, right.
chitsandra and those type of things, right?
Mm.
I don't remember exactly what's in there now, but these are all like Indian supplements.
Nice. And you saying that just reminded me of the fact that I'm also taking magnesium, which
Yes,
is also very good because
powerful.
it helps you to relax and stress
Do you
is
have the spray?
I have the spray and I have a powder form, but I make sure not to do both on the same day, because I know you should only take a certain amount each day. But it's
Love the spray. I spray it on my on the bottom of my feet before I go to
nice.
bed, and then I
Nice.
sleep much better. It's like
I bet you do. I might start doing that because yeah,
fantastic.
I'm so grateful to have started using essential oils on the soles of my feet because I
Mm,
remembered it, all of your nerve endings are there and you can also massage them. It's just
yeah.
it's really important. It's really interesting.
The feet are a powerful, powerful place because there's again these nerve endings everywhere, and every point in the foot is connected to somewhere in your body, right? It's like
Yeah.
it's
I
quite
was just thinking
incredible.
of how as a kid and I used to wear shoes that were too small, as long as they were cute, I'd wear the most painful shoes. And then at one point I was just like, you know what? Not worth it.
No,
No,
I
not worth
haven't done that for years. I can't do uncomfortable shoes
No,
anymore. It's just
no.
not my
You
thing.
can't be present when your feet hurt. It's just not possible.
It's
I
not
mean, maybe it
possible.
is because all things are possible, but it's not fun. I'll just say that.
I guess the last thing I still want to mention too is melatonin
Yeah.
because I do think that helps with sleep as well, sleep
Mhm,
cycles. If there's somebody who has issues with sleeping or their mind is too revved up to be sleeping, for example,
mhm.
melatonin can be really powerful with that. And I also used a lot of teas. I love teas, herbal
Yeah.
teas. So I have a tea for everything, literally.
Mm,
And so I have all these herbal teas for sleep, for relaxation,
mm.
for digestion. There's all kinds of, and I think because I love drinking tea, so that always seems really easy for me, like an easy thing to do. And then
Mm.
you get to nurture your body and nourish and liquefy yourself, and so
Yeah.
it's perfect on all levels, right?
Very soothing to me to
Very
just drink
soothing.
tea. It's like a lovely experience. It feels
Yeah.
like a self-care moment when I drink tea.
Yes. Yes.
And I drink it
Absolutely.
multiple times a day too.
Yeah. Oh, and the other thing I wanted to mention was Epsom salt baths.
Yes, 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 yes.
Yes.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. Definitely.
Big fan. Had one today. Big fan. Big fan. It just does something to your muscles and to your whole body. It's like
Yes.
just takes all this energy and just shifts it
Mm.
right away. Oh, and the other thing I've been doing is infrared sauna once a week. I'm
No.
going to
Oh,
my
beautiful.
chiropractor who has an infrared sauna. And
Wow.
so I see him, I go to the sauna and I go home. It's fantastic. I love it
Wow. Oh, that's
because you
that's
basically sweating out all the toxins that are in your body, and it really it's like a cleanse, like a physical cleanse. It's really fantastic.
nice. I'm gonna have to look into that because that sounds
They
wonderful.
must have that in New York,
Oh my
infrared.
God, I'm sure they're all over New York. I'm
I'm
sure.
sure they
I
do.
just need to find, I'm sure I want to find one near me though. But
Of
yeah.
course, of course. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. So I think we covered the body pretty well, right? The physical
Yeah.
realm. Would
Yeah.
you say, or did we miss anything?
I don't think so. We did like food and supplements and
I
kind of
mean, the
exercise.
only other thing I would say, nature. I mean, nature is just if
Mhm.
you can connect your body with nature, whether that's walking in on grass or just walking in a park and sniffing the air, the
Mhm.
fresh air that the trees are giving us and the flowers. And I love cut grass smell. So whenever my
Me
neighbors cut their
too.
grass or whenever we get our grass cut outside, I always go outside right away and I'm like ah, like cut grass. There's nothing better than that
It's the
smell.
best scent, and I've bought candles that smell like cut grass
You
before.
have
It's,
candles that smell like
it's
cut grass. I love
it's
it.
the best fragrance. It smells so clean and fresh,
Fantastic,
and
right?
again, city living, you got to do what you can.
Gotta do what you can. Get those candles. That's right. I have in the winter for like Christmas, I usually get those Christmas candles that smell like Christmas trees.
Yes, 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 yes.
Those are
So
incredible too. I love
I
those.
have one other thing I just want to show you. I have this essential oil that I'm in love with. It's balsam fir needle because firs, I think sometimes firs are Christmas
Oh
trees.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I get
That's the candle smell that I have.
yes, I love it because
Love it.
it's lovely.
So fresh. Like,
What are the chances that we like similar things? Oh my goodness.
ah, what are the chances? I'm so surprised. So let's talk a little bit about the emotional realm,
Yes, yes.
right?
You said
Because
something.
I mean, I think that's sort of a little bit more difficult sometimes because the emotions sometimes can be, it's not something that necessarily we talk about with other people. It's not always something that we learn growing up, how to deal with our emotional body, right?
Yeah.
It's certainly taken me years of therapy to get to the place of like knowing what I'm feeling and how to deal with that, you know? So,
That's right. I forgot because I was always so impressed with how clear you are and aware you are in your emotions. And I was like, oh yeah, she said years of practice. That's why she's really good at
years
it.
of therapy, yes.
Man, um, yeah, it's not always easy. I think in like the space of self-care comes honoring your emotions. And
Mm,
I think if you start with that, it can be really powerful. Sometimes honoring your emotions or just being in the space of abject fear because of what's going on. I mean, at the beginning of all of this, I mean, I wasn't even trying to like, I wasn't like, I'll give myself the space, but I was just there and, and not doing our best not to be hard on ourselves about it. I don't know if anybody was hard on themselves about like, oh, I feel bad because I'm afraid, but that's just sort of I think part of it. It's like first of all just
acknowledging
where
it
you
and
are,
being
yeah,
with it.
be with it, and then when you do start to get a little bit of clarity or when you start to feel better, then you can say, oh wow, okay, well, what can I see about this situation? Like, okay, well, I realized that I was looking at this or I was thinking about this and I felt terrible. Maybe what I should do is work on either forgiveness work or work on or just eat a lollipop or look at puppy videos. Like, let me do
Look
something.
at puppy videos. That's one me
So
and
many.
Steven did a lot. We
Oh my
looked at a
God.
lot of cat and puppy
I
videos.
know some YouTube puppies by name, so we can talk puppies later if you want to. Oh my God.
Well,
but
animals are fantastic for heart openers, right? I mean, when it
yes,
comes to
yes,
emotional connection, I think
yeah,
animals, whether you have a pet or whether you just watch videos about pets,
yeah,
I think that can, either way, I think that can be a real heart opener, right?
definitely. Easily without word. Well, obviously they don't talk, so no words, but just it's almost
My cat talks very a
your
lot.
cat. Your cat talk. Well, some of them do talk in their own language. So yeah,
Yes.
that's true. They do communicate,
Yeah.
but but it's almost instantaneous. It's almost like they can just push this like button that
Yeah.
shifts priorities and opens you up, and that's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's like a gift from God. That's a gift
Definitely.
from the universe or source or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
yeah, I think it's when you can move into a space of like, let me at least feed myself a little bit because when you're in
Mhm.
these spaces of overwhelm, you can't do anything for anybody, you can't do anything for yourself. It's like,
Yes.
if you're on a plane and they say when the oxygen mask falls down, put it on yourself first before you put it on others,
Yeah.
because you can't really do anything. But then also if you're in a certain space, sometimes you just have to allow it to ride its way out. Like you can't force your way out of it.
It's
But
like
when
a
you
wave. I feel like
it's
emotions are
a wave,
like waves, and they sometimes they
yeah,
come and while you're in it, you can't really, there's no point in
you're
doing
just in
anything
it.
or thinking your way out of it because you're
Yeah,
in it. To just let it pass first, right?
yeah,
And I think that's the difficulty. And that's, I think, what brings me also to like the subject of embracing discomfort, right? Because when
Yes.
we
Yeah.
have emotions like fear or overwhelm, that feels extremely uncomfortable. And we need to allow ourselves to be with that discomfort, right?
Yeah.
Because if we can't be with that discomfort, we're going to be fighting against it. And when you fight against your own feelings, you're just, it's like you're just making it worse.
Yeah, you're like shoving it down, you're not acknowledging it, and it's still there. It's just going to come up in a
Right.
different way. But
Yeah.
I love what you said because it reminds me of this message that the angels have given me before, is just to say sort of thank you for things, even if it's something that's not desirable, even if it's something
Right.
that's
Something that's
unpleasurable
difficult.
or difficult, because again it ties to, do you believe that things are ultimately working out for you? It's like, all right, well, maybe there's a lesson in it. I can't feel it now, but I am going to step into the space of this higher perspective, even though it's a small space. Like
Yeah.
you might even say thank you and not really feel it, but
Yeah.
just by saying thank you, I think that opens the doorway, like you said before, like gratitude opens
Gratitude.
the
Yes.
heart.
And
So
also being okay with not knowing why something's happening, right?
yeah.
I think that's been a really difficult lesson for me because I'm a
Mm,
very well, I'm very emotional and very rational. I'm a little bit of both, but I like to know things. Like
yeah.
I'm very much of a seeker and I want to gain, knowledge and I want to understand how things work, right? I'm very much like that. And so when I don't understand how something's working or why something is the way it is, I get very frustrated, and I get very
Mm,
much like why can't I understand this? And why is it not the way I think it should be, or the
yeah.
way it makes sense to me?
Yeah.
And I think being able to just let yourself not know why something is the way it is very powerful because then
Yeah.
you're giving it some space. And
Yeah.
within that space, it can make itself known to you, right? I think
Yes.
it's just a matter of you need to allow it to arise in your understanding, to
Yeah.
come to you rather than for you to force it to just go
If
like,
you
I
try to
want to know
force
what
it,
this is
it's
about,
not
you
gonna.
know?
Yeah. There's this speaker that I heard once. His name is David Rock, and he wrote a book called Your Brain at Work. And he said that the same part of your brain that lights up when you're in pain is the same part of your brain that lights up when you don't know something. So your brain looks at it as physically painful
Right.
when you don't have all the information. It's a processor. It likes to be able to
Mm.
compare good and bad, safe and not safe. And if you don't know, that's why so many times, when you're
You
wanting to
feel
do something to help
unsafe.
yourself, you sabotage your journey because, or not you, but this part of your brain,
A part of your
you
brain,
feel
yeah.
unsafe, like unknown equals unsafe. So that's a huge part of it. And
Mm.
so being,
Yeah, and so it makes sense that we want to get away from that, right? So when we're
yes,
uncomfortable, when we're feeling uncomfortable, when we're feeling like we don't know something and we're experiencing the sense of unsafety or pain, even, we want to get away from that, right? So
yeah.
I think the human reaction is to sort of like
Fight
bolt,
or flight,
or get
very
away
much.
from
Yeah.
it, right?
And the best thing to do, well, not the best thing, but I think it's just so helpful to breathe and tell yourself
Yes.
that you're safe. And
Yes.
there have been other times in your life when you didn't know information and
And
you
you
were
were safe.
okay and
Yes.
you were safe and it worked out because you're here now. Like it's so important. I mean, I feel like this is emotional but also mental, like
Yes.
to be able to talk to yourself and say, you're not about to be eaten by a lion. It's
Right.
okay. It's okay. You can breathe. You can breathe. You're not in danger. You can wait
Right.
another minute, but definitely I love what you said. Like when you release the resistance and the forcing, you
Yes.
make space for it to arise, because I
Yes.
can't remember who said it, but I think someone said that like the universe creates the solution, like the solution and the problem exist in the same moment. I mean, especially if
Right.
you have this expanded perspective that time, doesn't exist, or there's only the now moment, or all of time exists in a moment. So
At the
it's
same
all
time.
it's all here. But so like it's not available to you if you're pushing against it, grabbing it. But
Yes.
if you make space for it, then it can sort of flow into you.
Yes. It can come to you.
Yes.
Yes. I love that. Yes. And I agree with that 100%. Yes. And I think that giving space right now, especially for 2021, is such an important thing for us to learn. I think there's two things. There is learning how to get comfortable with being uncomfortable and letting that be okay, and giving ourselves and other people space.
Yeah.
Just whether that's physical space, whether that's emotional space, whether that's mental space,
Mhm.
because there's so much noise going on. There's so much shifting and noise. And if we're not giving ourselves and other people space right now, we're going to get sucked into that noise and sucked into that chaos. And it's going to feel very uncomfortable, even more so than,
Right. And that's
it
like a
already is.
different kind of discomfort. That's more like not necessarily an elected discomfort, but you do have a choice to not give someone space or to, you
Right.
know, fall into their stories or fall into their pathways. So that's
Right.
different than, something coming up within your own experience that you feel uncomfortable with.
Yes.
But either way, being present to your emotions is helpful, and being able to sort of step back if you can to look at something and go, oh, that's right. Maybe I don't have to participate in this. And you can speak your truth with compassion and say, oh my goodness, I need to leave, or you can be clear, or whatever.
Yes, there's always a choice to remove yourself, right? I mean,
Yes.
that's one thing I've learned is that I don't have to, because I have a tendency to be, I always want to be there. I want to be present. I want to be, connecting.
Mhm.
But I've learned that sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes wanting to
Mm.
connect is not in the best and highest interest of everybody involved. So
Yeah.
in those moments, I need to remove myself, and it's okay to do that,
Mm.
and it's
That's very,
powerful, actually.
yeah, that's very important and powerful to learn. And I feel like I just sort of learned that recently, like maybe in the past few years, because I feel like I
Mhm.
I love connecting with people.
I
We
know.
both love connecting
We both love
with
that.
people. And sometimes you get an inner, like there's this way of being that we both are, or that I am, which is loving to connect, desiring to connect. But sometimes there's this inner guidance that's like, maybe not now, like, or back off. And it's taken me a while to kind of hear that voice or feel that awareness, because I'm like, a new person, I love you, we connect, you're spiritual, hey, let's hang out, or whatever degree of that is. And it's like, Chernise,
Yeah.
you
You're like
know,
a puppy. I feel like when sometimes I remember when we used to walk in New York, I feel like the two of us would be like, I'd be like this young cat and you'd be like this young doggy. And then we would
oh
walk
my God,
around and we'd just be like,
I just
hey,
love
hey,
our
Percy, look at
energy
this, look at
cycling off of each other. And it's like, I could just feel Mother Gaia just drifting away from us as we're floating higher and higher. Thank God there was like a balloon string attached to us to bring us back down. But
that. Down
yeah,
to earth.
I
Yeah.
just get, there's so much
We
joy.
definitely both get very excited. We
Yeah.
can both get very excited, and when we get excited, we kind of raise off the ground.
Yes.
But
Yes,
we can get back grounded
we
again.
can. We
Back,
can. And like, this
yeah.
is like something I've appreciated about our friendship always, is that we've got the whole spectrum. We've been really down and supported each other's, and really high, it's all there. And that's
Yeah,
beautiful. So
yeah, for
just wanted to
sure.
say that,
Very,
Sonia.
very beautiful. Yeah. So, shall we talk a little bit about maybe the mental part of all of this in terms of like how we deal with, uncertainty in terms of the mental realm?
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
good.
do you want to start or shall I start?
Sure, I'll start. For
Mhm.
me, just one of the things I've been doing has sort of been reminding myself that it's along the lines of like, I've been through change before. It's okay. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to just be in the moment, and do what I can to prepare for myself, and really remind myself over and over again that I do believe that things are working for me overall, even though I'll forget that in the moment. That's why I have to remind myself. And I work with angels, like I channel archangels, and they give me lovely information. And love, it's funny because they don't just talk to me all the time.
Right,
They'll just give me some bits of information, unless I'm reaching out to them to channel for a client or something.
Right.
but they haven't said like, pack your things and run. There's no, there hasn't been anything like that. It's just usually like, just so I feel like I'm okay. They're not like leave the state. Um, but
Well,
they're
they're also communicating in a very loving manner, don't
in
they?
a
I mean,
very loving manner, in a very, very loving manner. So even if they said that, it would be different. But there's just been a lot of reminding myself that I am very supported. Um, I'm divinely guided. If I look around in my immediate presence, my loved ones are safe. I'm safe.
yes,
There's a lot of like this type of reminding myself that I'm safe, and what is it that I ultimately believe about life. And my belief about life is positive. Ultimately, it is supportive. It is that we're expressing more of the light daily, on a daily basis, and I can feel shifts, and I get these awarenesses that I haven't had before. Like I'll just be doing something one day and I'll just get this wonderful awareness. And
yeah,
so I do, it's really a matter of like, what is it that I want to look at?
yeah.
Maybe I need to look at what's going on in the world to a certain degree, but
Where do
when
I focus my energies, right?
right,
Where do
where
I
do I
focus my
focus?
mind?
Right, where do I focus my mind?
Yeah,
And what is important to me? Is it important to me to be able to function, or do I want to just absorb all of this information with no filter just because it's there? So I've just had to make
very
different
good point.
choices. I've had to make different choices
Yes, you have to
mentally.
make better conscious choices about what you want to take in, what you want your system to actually take in. Because I think our system has been getting so overwhelmed with all this information for years now. But I think now that we're in a place where we're experiencing so much stress, it actually makes it worse, because when you're in a stress mode, you're not running at 100%, right? Your immune system is already weakened. And so when you then let in all this information, then it becomes like it drains you even more, and then you weaken your immune system even more, right?
Mhm.
So because it all works together, I mean, we have to think of, this is a holistic system right here, the mental, the emotional, the physical, this all interconnected.
Mhm.
And I feel that, if we can allow the mind to be in support of the heart and the body, then the system will function at a much better, in a much better way.
Yes.
Um, it's just that we have to be very conscious to do that, right? Because there's so many programmings that we have, and so many unconscious patterns that we have,
Mhm.
each of us, and they're each differently for every person, of course. But I've just noticed for myself that there's all these patterns running, that if I'm not operating on a conscious level, it will impact my emotional and my emotional body and my physical body. So
Yes.
I need to really look to see what is that, that's supporting me, and what is it that's not supporting me,
Yeah.
right? And one thing that I've done for myself is I've, I've pretty much disconnected from listening to the news already 15 years ago. But the last 2 years for sure, I've not, like, I've been very, very clear about that. That's not something I want to put into my energy field,
Yeah.
right? My emotional, my physical, my mental energy field. Um, and also another thing that I'm becoming much more conscious of right now too is that I look to see, what do I read, what do I watch, like if I watch a movie or if I watch a TV show, like what do I watch? Is it going to be impacting me in a way that makes me feel more alive, or is it going to impact me in a way where I'm going to feel more reduced as a being, as an energy being?
Yeah.
And that helps a lot, making those choices helps a lot.
Yeah. I
um,
love the way you said that, because I do that too. I want to, if I'm going to watch a movie, it can, if it's going to be silly and funny, that's fine. But if it's something that is going to make me scared, and some people like scary movies, but I
right,
tend not to. But if it's going to have me feel worse about myself or others, or
right.
then I'm not into it. And something you said about the news, my mom had been maybe a year ago, maybe two, yeah, maybe a year, yeah, last year. She just had the news on all day long, all day, all day, all day,
Mhm,
all day.
mhm.
And she started feeling her blood pressure like rise, like her heart would beat. And she does have high blood pressure, which she regulates, but she can feel
Mhm.
like when it gets like, I don't know all of the symptoms, but I know, she started feeling that way. So I was like, Mom, turn it off.
Yeah.
Just stop. What's more important? Like, you're gonna watch this and then you're going to go to the hospital and this news is going to keep happening. So why don't you just watch a little bit? I mean, I didn't want her to watch any, honestly, because it's my mom and her health was suffering, so I didn't want her to watch any. I'm like, sorry, you don't have the right to do that to my mom. But she now, I think she watches like an hour a day. I'm like, well, that's good, that's better than.
Reduced it quite a bit. I mean, I
Yeah,
think it's important to just check in with your own body and to just see what happens when I do certain things, when I listen to
exactly.
certain things, when I allow myself to take in information, what happens to my system when I do that, right? Like to just pay attention and watch. And it's interesting. I mean, I've always been someone who's been very connected to my body. So it's hard for me to relate sometimes when people are not conscious what's going on in their body, right? And that could be loved ones as well, you know. Um, but I try to be the example
Mm,
that other people can see, so they can, if they like what they see, maybe do more of the things that I'm doing for myself. But at the same time, also maybe explore their own, body in a way that they find things that works for them that maybe doesn't work for me too,
mhm, mhm.
I mean, I
Yeah,
think everyone is a little bit different, so we have to give each other the space to let ourselves discover what works and what doesn't, right?
yeah. You're definitely my
Physically,
self-care role
emotionally.
model.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah.
I like you have influenced me in that way because you are like massages every week,
Massages, yes, I forgot to mention
Reiki
that.
every
I
week,
love my
hot
massage.
tub, sauna, yeah, and that's I'm like, wow, that is great. Like you have such a strong self-care regimen.
I
And
do because my body doesn't function well if I don't. Like I can feel the difference. It's mainly it's a lot of it is emotional actually for me, because I'm
mm,
such an emotional being that if I
mm,
don't take care of myself in that way, my emotional body will just go,
wow, yeah.
moon in Scorpio.
Yeah.
Wow. What can I say? And it's in my first house, so I can't even hide it from anybody, you know? So I have to, because otherwise I'd be probably unbearable to be around, You probably wouldn't want to hang out with me otherwise.
I can't imagine that. You're such a sweetheart. Oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah.
You ask
But
Steven. He can tell you stories, I'm sure.
all right. Okay. Fair.
But I mean, it's just also a matter of learning how to manage, right? How to manage your own stuff, because everyone has something else, right? I mean, for me, it's maybe my emotional stuff. For another person, it might be something more physical. For another person, it might be something more mental. For another person, it might be a very spiritual thing that they have to connect with themselves more on a spiritual level. Everyone has their thing that they know they have to manage a little bit better, right?
Mhm, mhm,
and
mhm.
it and, and it only happens through love and acceptance, of course. You can't
Yeah.
manage something that you're angry with, or that you're pushing away, or that you're resisting,
So
right?
beautifully said.
You
Yeah.
have to give yourself a lot of love and compassion. I mean, that's
Mhm.
that's my that's my thing. I say that to everybody, and I say it in my videos all the time, and I talk about it, I write about
Beautiful.
it, but I think it's like number one thing is, if you don't know how to be loving and caring and compassionate with yourself, how
Mm,
are you going to create a world that is that way,
wow.
right?
Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. Beautifully said. That's it reminds me of something I started doing because I'm sure most people have experiences um throughout the day or throughout the week where you wish you had done something differently or you're like, ah, I did this and And so what I do, I started doing is like I will send love to the self that did that action, that took that action.
Ah, I love it.
My eyes and see myself sending love to the self that did that, and it it feels beautiful.
The part of yourself, because we have
Yes.
a lot of
Yep.
different parts of
Yes.
ourselves, right, that kind
Yeah.
of interact with each other or don't.
Yeah.
um, you know but I think it's, yeah, I think it's important to kind of like sometimes go like, that's just a part of me, it's not
Yes.
all of me,
Yeah.
right? Because sometimes we behave in certain ways or we feel certain things where we can easily go like, oh, I can't believe that's me, but it's not all of you, it's a part of, it's like a
Yeah.
slice of you, it's
Mhm.
like just something that's maybe just resonating back to something from the past, something that you've experienced. It could be connected to a trauma, it could be connected
Mhm.
to something that you inherited from your own parents or from society even,
Mhm.
right? So
Mhm.
there's so many ways in which we take on things and then make all of who we are
Mhm.
possible, right?
Yeah, we we'll trash ourselves for this one small part of ourselves, like for the action that that part of ourselves took. So I definitely just recommend that, like send love to that part of yourself, and
Yeah.
it will feel different because usually we send anger or frustration or whatever at that part of ourselves. And if you send love, like you feel differently. You definitely
Yeah.
feel differently when you do that.
And I know we have to come to a stopping point, but I just wanted to say one last thing, which is I think inner dialogue is very important too, right? How we talk to ourselves. Because I know that when I was younger, I used to talk to myself in a very harsh and disrespectful way, and I wouldn't even know that I did that. Like it was so unconscious, but it was part of my conditioning and part of my upbringing and part of my. I was trained into that in a way, and so my inner dialogue was at times, not all the time, but at times it was just very harsh and very unforgiving. And so I, I've learned to shift that, and I've learned to talk to myself in a much kinder way. And I'm much more aware of when I say something to myself that's unkind. And so just being able to pay attention to that and to shift that inner dialogue, and to learn how to be our own best friends, like, I mean, I would never talk to you the way I used to talk to myself,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So why would I talk to myself that way?
Mm,
Well, it's a lot of conditioning, and it's a lot of what I've just soaked up from my upbringing, right?
mm,
And not to make anybody wrong or anything, but it's just how these things work, right? I mean, children are sponges, they soak everything up in their environment. And I was a very sensitive empath
mhm.
child, so I would
Yeah.
immediately be like, okay, okay, I'll take this, I'll take that, you know.
Yeah.
And of course you have to learn as you get older, and when you're an adult, you have to look at those things and go, wait a second, do I want to continue doing that? Do I want to continue with these words? Like, is that actually serving me? Is that helping me, raise my energy? Like I always go by like, what does my energy body do when I say that to myself? Is it
Mm,
expanding or is it contracting?
mhm,
Right?
mhm,
And when I'm not kind with myself, my energy body goes like like
mhm.
and I get very constipated, and not literally constipated, but like my body's like
Right,
just
right,
super tense, right?
right.
But when I'm kind with myself, there's this sense of like just, it's just that love, and it just feels so right and so organic. And of course, the most difficult times to be kind to yourself is when something happens that you have a resistance with, right? So
Mhm,
when there's something that comes up where you feel resistant, either something in the outside world that you feel a resistance towards, or something that you have done or said that you feel a resistance towards in the moment, that's that's the most difficult time to be kind to yourself.
right.
But that's when, of course, we have to practice it the most.
That's definitely when you need it the most and when
That's
you
when you need it the
benefit
most.
from it the most.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it is a practice. I mean, I think that's also important to say that you do the best you can every time, and you keep doing it until you get better at it, and then you get better at it, and then you get better at it. But it's not, it's kind of like, it's like a very slow incline, you know. It's not like this. You don't go like, woo, okay, I'm good at this, you know. It's a little bit more like, "Ooh, ooh." You know, and then you keep climbing, but once in a while
Right.
you have these dips, you know.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that's important also to acknowledge, is that, you know, things don't happen overnight, and it takes time and practice, and it's a process. It's an evolutionary process that you have with yourself,
Yeah.
right?
And definitely finding a way to make peace with the journey. I feel like we have a goal, and I feel like, maybe in Western culture it's like we want it now, and we think we do this once and we get it now. But if we can sort of, take the stance that if you want to manifest something, you start saying something and believing that it's happening, um, and it's not going to necessarily manifest then, but you're going to be on the journey to it happening. So sometimes that can be helpful too. Like if you're visualizing or seeing yourself in this space where you're speaking loving words to yourself, and then you find yourself not, it's like, hey, you know what, this is just part of the journey, this is what happens along the way,
Yes.
it's
I
okay.
like I like the analogy of like a plant, right? You're planting a seed for a flower, for example. And you know, when you're planting that seed, you know, you keep nurturing it, you give it water, you give it fresh air, you give it sunshine, you know, and so the plant at some point will start to come out of the earth, right? But it can take a while for that to happen, right? Like you have to keep nurturing it and nurturing it and nurturing it before that actually, before it can penetrate out
Mhm.
into the open, right? Before it
Mhm.
can be seen even.
Mhm.
And then once it's seen, that feels nice, but then it still takes a while before it can actually become a beautiful plant, right? Or a beautiful
Yeah,
flower. So I
yeah,
think we have to remember that things like that take time, especially if it's something that you're shifting within yourself that's different, that's new, you haven't done it before,
that you
right?
have had, especially when you have a lot of resistance against that anyway. So
Exactly,
having
especially if there's a lot of resistance to begin with.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So we
definitely.
just have to be patient with ourselves, and no, it's easier said than done sometimes, of course.
Yes. A lot
I
of the
can write a song about it. Anyways, oh my
time.
God, it's always so wonderful. I could talk to you for hours.
I know. We could just, yeah,
We
I
could
could
just
just,
continue, you know, for another hour. But I think just for the purpose of like making it beneficial for people who want to be watching this, we should probably get to a closing, right?
yeah,
So
that
is there
sounds.
anything you want to say for just as a closing? Anything, any last words of wisdom you want to give
Um,
from the angels, from the
the
masters?
angels from the masters, I would say that you are divine. There is a light in you that, whether you know it or not, is expanding and growing every day. Remember that when you see yourself do things that you don't think you would do, or you feel bad about something, or and remember that when you see changes in the external world, because the light in you is actually greater than everything in the
Mm.
manifested world. So remember that you do not have to take on victim consciousness, because you are the freaking sun.
Yes, thank you for saying that. Yes, we all have so much more power than we let ourselves believe, right? Because of the conditioning and the life experiences that we've come from, we tend to think like, you know, we don't have the power, but we do, and we need to take it back. We need to
Yeah.
take our power back and say, I am beautiful, I'm love, I'm light, I can shine, and
Mm.
I can. And so one thing that I would add to that for everybody who's watching is that, you know, focus on what you have influence over. Because when you focus on what you have influence over, you give yourself more power. You can inner
Mm.
power, right? It's not about grabbing power from the outside or from somebody else. It's about inner power. When you focus on what you have actual influence over, you know, you can be more present in your life, you can be more powerful, and you can shine your light much brighter. You know, we
Mm,
need to learn how to not focus on stuff that we don't have any influence over. You know, we give our power away way too easily, you know, to the
so
outside world, to other people, to society, to laws, to things that are being talked about in the news. You know, we give our power away very easily. So we need to take it back,
yes,
take it all back.
yes. Take it back.
That's my 2 cents of wisdom. Take
Beautiful.
back your power.
Together we got 4 cents. 4 cents of wisdom right here.
So I
Beautiful.
think this was so beautiful. Thank you so much for joining me, Shanice. It was such a pleasure talking to you about all of this.
Me too.
Uh, I
Such a
think this is huge value. You know, just being able to kind of like tap into like what are some of the practices that you can actually do for yourself. And I also want to invite everybody watching this, you know, to explore your own stuff. You know, like it's not just what I and Shanice are you know, doing that works and is perfect. That definitely not. There's so many other things that are fantastic as well. And you know, if you're watching this and you want to share, you know, in the comments, you know, about what works for you and what are your routines that help you on a physical, mental, and emotional level, please share. I think that would be helpful for everybody. I think helping each other right now is really beneficial. You know, to let ourselves know that we're not alone. We can help each other. We can be there for each other, and at the same time also keeping the focus on ourselves and doing what we can for ourselves as well, right? So with that, I guess you know we're gonna have Shanice's information and my information at the bottom of this video. So in case any of you want to connect with either one of us in terms of channeling, energy healing, astrology, life coaching, you know, anything that your heart desires. If you need any support, right, Shanice?
yes.
We're here for you.
We got you.
We got you. We got you. So feel free, and even if you just want to explore, you know, our websites and see, you know, I know you. Do you have a blog, Shanice? Do you write something?
No, yes, I'm having blog issues on my website, so it's actually not on my. If
Not
you,
right now.
what you can do is, I'm going to give you a link. I have an old blog that I created years ago. I haven't updated it in a while, but I was channeling exercises from the archangels every week. So there's like over a
Oh,
year's worth of
fantastic.
angelic
So we'll
exercise.
put that underneath the
We'll
video
put
as
it, yeah,
well.
we'll put it
That's
underneath.
that's perfect. And then of course you also post on Instagram and
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
And I have videos that I post on YouTube and on my website that are free. So you guys can, you know, you definitely can get stuff for free as well from us. And I know you do monthly gatherings, angel
Yeah,
gatherings,
I
right?
do a monthly call where I channel archangels and you can ask questions. I do twice a week. I do archangel healing sessions that are long distance that help you on your
That are
ascension.
group healing sessions, right?
Right. And then I have a channeling program. And then so we usually meet on Monday nights. Oh, and I'm going to be teaching a light language class, teaching another light language class very soon, but I'll give you all that information so it's in the.
Okay, fantastic. And what is the light language class exactly?
So it's a 4-week class that I'm teaching with the Rainbow Soul Collective. And I'm basically teaching you how to speak the light language of your soul.
Beautiful.
And the week, I'm going to see if I can remember all of the weeks because there's 4 weeks. I know one of the weeks we're just activating everyone. The next week, I think we're learning how to understand light language because it's not usually, it's a language mostly that you feel,
Yeah.
and it doesn't necessarily come to you translated like when I channel. The third week, we work on healing, like the healing aspects of light language. And then the fourth week, we help you discover your specific type of light language. Like we'll play around with written light language, with danced light language, with drawings. And so,
Dance. That's another thing we forgot to mention. Dance.
oh yes, it's good for your body. Dance, move, move,
Gotta
move.
dance.
Yeah,
Dance is really
yeah.
important for the body, right?
Yes, to get the stagnant energy moving.
Yeah,
Dance is
yeah.
very powerful. Just through the ages, so many different cultures, like dance has been very important.
Dance been a
There's a
big part
reason.
of tribes and
Yes,
ancient cultures.
yes,
Yes,
yes, dance.
absolutely.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
believe in dance.
Glad you said that. That's really good.
So yeah, I should maybe mention for those of you who don't know me that I have a membership website, and if you want to get daily forecasts via email sent to you, then you can become a member on my website. Then I also have articles that I write frequently, and my weekly blogs, and my videos, new moon, full moon videos. So there's a lot of stuff that you can get access to as a member, as well as discounts for readings or coaching sessions, and my soul-based astrology courses, of course. I also teach online soul-based astrology courses. So if there's anybody who wants to learn more about astrology, who wants to become a student, then definitely reach out to me. I love working with people who are astrology enthusiasts. I love it. So yeah, paid forward, right?
Yes.
Paid forward.
Woohoo.
All
Woohoo.
right. Well, thank you so much, Chernise.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure. I love you.
I love you too, my
And
friend.
maybe we'll do this again.
Maybe. I would love it.
Okay. Much love to you. Namaste.
Namaste. Bye.
Bye bye.